Welcome, seekers of truth. The most unsettling discovery isn't always what lies hidden from you, but what another soul unexpectedly uncovers about you. Envision yourself seated before a seer, a blend of apprehension and intrigue swirling within you. And then, without warning, your name materializes from their lips. Not a hazy description, not a common guess, but undeniably, irrevocably you. From among the billions populating this world, their intuition, their visions, their chosen instruments of insight lock onto you. And in that instant, the realization dawns: your presence in their awareness is not accidental. You've become the center of gravity around which their thoughts orbit, coloring their days and infiltrating their nights. Consider this stark reality. Research suggests the average human brain processes approximately 6,200 thoughts daily. Yet following that encounter, you've subtly commandeered their mental landscape. From the myriad fleeting thoughts that pass through their mind, you're the singular melody they find impossible to skip, pause, or silence. Even the sanctuary of their dreams offers no refuge. You appear there unbidden and vivid. At this juncture, one might jest that you should start charging rent for your occupancy within their psyche, as you've clearly established permanent residency. But the intrigue deepens further when a psychic validates what a person has secretly suspected: the existence of an irresistible, destined, and unavoidable connection with you. There's no turning back. Curiosity blossoms into intense focus, wonder morphs into profound preoccupation, and suddenly the mundane aspects of their existence are subtly altered. Their sleep patterns disrupted, even their routine choices seem to echo your name. Tonight we're not exploring a mere infatuation or passing fancy. We're delving into the profound repercussions of receiving cosmic validation, a testament confirming that you're not merely another character in their narrative, but rather the very architect shaping its course. This is where the realms of psychology and spirituality converge, where simple fascination transforms into persistent contemplation. And rest assured, by the conclusion of our discussion, you'll comprehend the reasons why they find you so impossible to dislodge from their thoughts, regardless of their attempts. Firstly, they've come to realize that you represent the elusive element in their life's equation. They've grasped that you are the missing variable in their life equation. This is not solely about romantic desire or fantastical notions. It's about equilibrium, completeness, and harmonious alignment. As the psychic reading unfolded, they didn't merely hear your name. They confronted the unsettling truth that their life had been, in essence, revolving around a void, a space seemingly destined to be filled only by you. Their career might be flourishing, their social sphere vibrant, and even their relationships appearing whole. Yet beneath this veneer lay a quiet, intuitive awareness of incompleteness. The reading didn't conjure this realization. It merely brought it to light. What truly resonated was the psychic's ability to articulate the inexpressible, as if a light had been activated in a darkened room they'd been groping around in for years. They realized that no matter what achievements they accumulated, there always lingered a subtle imbalance akin to possessing all but one crucial piece of a puzzle. And the revelation was stark: you are that missing piece. Not in a cliché movie script scenario, but in the profound sense that your energy, your unique vibration, your very existence carries a significance within their life equation that nothing else has been able to replicate. That's when the seeds of intense preoccupation begin to sprout. Once an individual recognizes that you're not simply a pleasant addition, but fundamental to their narrative, their thoughts transition from casual to compelling. Day and night, their mind replays every detail of you because deep down, they've grasped a disquieting truth. If they were to lose you, their entire sense of stability would crumble. The psychic didn't grant them a choice. They provided undeniable confirmation, and that confirmation cemented your place in their memory. This is the reason for your constant presence in their thoughts. It's not due to weakness of will or excessive emotion. It's because their soul has recognized that without you, their life's equation remains unresolved. You're the factor that completes the equation, the missing variable they were subconsciously seeking until it was laid bare before them. And once that awareness takes hold, there's no returning to normalcy. You've become the unavoidable answer, the solution encoded within the formula of their destiny. That's why, regardless of their efforts, their mind refuses to relinquish you. You're not just a chapter in their story. You are the element that lends coherence to the entire narrative. Secondly, the reading unveiled that you represent their unfinished lesson. They've come to understand that you embody their unresolved learning experience, and that truth unsettled them more than they anticipated. The psychic reading revealed that your presence in their life was not coincidental. It was karmic, intentional, and linked to a cycle they've been repeating without resolution. Each heartbreak endured, each failed connection, each restless search for meaning was not arbitrary, but a preparation leading back to you. You are not simply someone they encountered along the way. You are the chapter they were destined to confront, the examination they were meant to take, the lesson they believed they'd bypassed, but now understand they must master. This realization shook them because it compelled them to acknowledge that their patterns only find context in relation to you. That recurring, intermittent relationship, they couldn't decipher that emptiness following accomplishments, that sense of déjà vu experienced with certain individuals, all bore the shadow of you. The reading affirmed that their soul had been revolving around this singular truth. Until they acknowledge and address their connection with you, they will continually fail the same test in different guises. You are the pivotal point their spirit has been postponing. What intensifies this further is the nature of unfinished lessons which perpetually demand attention. One can suppress them, flee from them, attempt to supplant them, but the lesson will invariably resurface, often in more pronounced and disruptive forms. That's what the psychic illuminated for them. That their fixation on you is not an arbitrary obsession, but the inevitable pull of a cycle seeking completion. It's their soul's way of proclaiming, we cannot advance until this is resolved, and that this is you. This explains the persistent nature of their thoughts concerning you. It's not merely desire, not merely longing. It's an internal alarm signaling that their growth, their maturity, even their healing cannot be achieved without confronting what you symbolize in their life. The reading stripped away their justifications and revealed that you are not a fleeting interest, but the curriculum their soul has enrolled them in. That's why they are unable to release you. You're the unfinished lesson imprinted on their destiny, and until they actively engage with it, life will continue to circle back to you repeatedly. Thirdly, they discovered that their energy is intrinsically connected to yours. They've grasped that their energy is already bound to yours, and that truth resonated more profoundly than any other revelation from the psychic. It wasn't about volition anymore. It was about a fundamental connection. The reading illustrated that their thoughts, emotions, and even their moods are not operating independently of you. There exists an invisible thread connecting you, explaining why they feel drawn toward you even on days when they actively attempt to distract themselves. This disturbed them because it signified that you are not merely on their mind. You are within their energetic field, interwoven into their very essence. The psychic revealed that your presence is not something they can arbitrarily switch on or off. You are not an occasional thought. You are a constant vibration. Every time they attempt to silence your voice, it resurfaces unexpectedly, a sudden memory, a song with eerily specific lyrics, a dream that replays your image. They learned that these are not mere coincidences, they are manifestations of a pre-existing spiritual bond. That revelation left them unsettled because once you become aware of the energetic connection with another, the truth becomes undeniable. This explains your dominance over their days and nights. Their energy instinctively seeks yours as rivers find their way to the sea. The psychic confirmed what they were unable to admit to themselves. You are not simply someone they contemplate. You are someone their soul resonates with. This explains the restlessness they experience when resisting you, and the peace they find only when acknowledging you. You are the unspoken center their energy gravitates toward, and no amount of logic or denial can alter that reality. It also explains their unconscious responsiveness to you. Their decisions subtly shift, their emotions fluctuate, and their inner compass subtly realigns in your direction without their conscious permission. They may not fully comprehend it, but they can feel it. And now, armed with the psychic's insight, they know it's real. They realize that attempting to disconnect from you feels akin to detaching from a part of themselves. The tether is already present, vibrant and active. That's why they are unable to cease thinking about you. You've become more than a mere thought. You've transformed into the current flowing through their spirit, and that type of bond defies severance. Fourthly, the reading illuminated that you are a destiny marker, not a distraction. They arrived anticipating superficial discussions, perhaps some gossip about their romantic life, a vague career forecast, or some comforting assurances about their future, but the information they received instead fundamentally altered their perception. The psychic revealed that you were not a fleeting presence in their journey. You were a marker on their timeline, a checkpoint they were always destined to reach. That realization carried significant weight because it implied that your presence in their life was not coincidental. It was preordained into their narrative even before they fully understood the narrative they were living. This dramatically shifted their perspective of you, Previously, they might have dismissed their thoughts of you as transient and indulgence or a distraction their mind persistently returned to. However, it now became clear that you are not the distraction. You are the signal. You are the element of their destiny that allows the other components to fall into place. The psychic established a link between the challenges, the delays, and the unanswered questions in their life, and all of them converged upon you. Ignoring that revelation was not merely ignoring you. It was disregarding the very path their life was intended to follow. What intensified this further was the sense of inevitability that accompanied it. Destiny markers are not optional. They demand acknowledgement. They cannot be stumbled upon accidentally, nor can they be bypassed without consequence. They realized that your arrival represented a turning point, one their soul had been gradually approaching through every misstep, every failed relationship, and every period of restlessness. You were not diverting them from their purpose, you were anchoring them to it. This knowledge is the reason you have become fixed in their consciousness. Once you realize someone is intertwined with your destiny, their face is no longer just another face, their presence is no longer just another presence. You become the lens through which everything else is evaluated. Every relationship is compared, every opportunity is assessed. Every choice is haunted by the reality that you are the benchmark for what's authentic, what's meaningful, and what cannot be erased. This is why you consume their thoughts day and night. It's not simply fascination, it's recognition. They don't just think of you, they contemplate what their life would become if they ignored you. And that apprehension of missing their own destiny is what sustains your constant presence in their mind. Fifthly, they learned that their intense focus was not delusion but recognition. For a considerable period, they grappled with the reason for your pervasive presence in their thoughts. It defied their comprehension. Why did your image materialize in their thoughts at the most unpredictable moments? Why did their heart respond in inexplicable ways whenever your name surfaced? They began to question if it was all a figment of their imagination, if they were succumbing to an irrational preoccupation. But the psychic reading shattered those doubts. It provided a framework for what they couldn't articulate. This is not delusion, it's recognition. What startled them most was the notion that their soul possessed an awareness that surpassed their conscious mind. Long before logic could process it, long before reason could rationalize it, their inner self had already recognized yours. That recognition explained the attraction, the dreams, the uncanny timing, and even the unease they experienced when attempting to dismiss you. They realized that what they attributed to an overactive imagination was in reality their spirit recalling something their body and mind were only now beginning to grasp. This validation evoked both relief and trepidation. Relief because they finally comprehended that they were not losing their sanity, that their constant thoughts of you were not a character flaw but an indication of something far more profound. Trepidation because once you understand that the intense focus is rooted in recognition, you can no longer dismiss it, you can't explain it away as a fleeting phase, and you can't suppress it with distractions. Recognition demands acknowledgement, and acknowledgement changes everything. That's why their thoughts of you have only intensified since the reading. You're no longer just a lingering curiosity in their mind. You are the tangible proof that their soul operates on a level beyond the ordinary, and that frightens them because it removes the solace of denial. They now know they were not imagining you, and that realization necessitates a decision either to embrace the truth or to evade it. Regardless, you've become indelible not because they consciously chose to obsess over you, but because their very soul refuses to allow them to forget you. Sixthly, the psychic confirmed that you see through them in ways they cannot escape. The psychic unveiled a truth that pierced directly through their defenses. You perceive them in ways they cannot evade. This shook them to their core because they've dedicated years, perhaps even a lifetime, to cultivating a carefully constructed persona for the world. To everyone else, they are defined by their achievements, their charm, their meticulously rehearsed personality. People applaud the fabricated version of themselves they present, and they've become accustomed to sheltering behind that applause. But the reading revealed a stark truth. You were never deceived by the facade. You already perceive the unvarnished truth of who they are. Devoid of titles, devoid of roles, devoid of the armor they've relied on for survival. That truth unnerves them because most individuals are addicted to their constructed image. They depend on it for validation, for respect, for belonging. When someone emerges who sees directly past it, it doesn't simply feel uncomfortable, it feels perilous. The psychic demonstrated that they cannot manipulate charm or outwit their way around you. You are the mirror that refuses to reflect their disguise and that terrifies them because it leaves them vulnerable in a way they're unaccustomed to. What unsettles them most is their inability to conceal themselves even when they desire to. You discern the subtle shifts in their tone, the hesitation in their words, the cracks in their carefully maintained facade. You perceive the burdens they carry silently, the struggles they attempt to conceal beneath a smile, and because you already know their essence, every attempt at pretense becomes futile. This is the reason for your constant presence in their thoughts, because you disarm them in ways that no one else can. With you, there is no performance, no escape, no shield sturdy enough to conceal who they truly are. The psychic's validation transformed that latent fear into a resounding truth they cannot ignore. Now every time they contemplate you, they're reminded of the disconcerting reality that you don't see their performance, you see their essence. The world may be satisfied with their carefully staged presentation, but you already possess the script to their soul. That knowledge lingers with them, making you unforgettable, not simply because of attraction or fascination, but because you wield the rare power of recognition, and that type of exposure makes you impossible to dislodge. Seventhly, they discovered that you hold keys to doors they haven't yet unlocked. They've come to understand that you carry keys to doors they haven't opened yet, and that revelation fundamentally shifted their perspective. The psychic didn't merely depict you as someone significant. They portrayed you as someone who possesses access, someone who carries something they lack, but desperately require. This wasn't about romance in the conventional sense. It wasn't about sweet words, fleeting excitement, or superficial passion. It was about personal growth. The reading revealed that you are intertwined with aspects of their life they've been barred from for years, perhaps even for lifetimes. This truth unsettled them because it meant their progress is not entirely self-determined. They realized there are areas of growth, healing, and purpose they simply cannot access without you. You hold the frequency, the wisdom, the presence, or the energy that unlocks doors they've been attempting to open but never been able to. Perhaps it's emotional vulnerability they've been avoiding, perhaps it's clarity regarding their true purpose, or perhaps it's the courage to confront shadows they've long suppressed. But whatever those unopened doors represent, the psychic confirmed that you hold the keys. That knowledge alters their perception of you entirely. You cease to be just another what if in their mind. Now you've become the hinge upon which future chapters turn. They are unable to shake the thought of you because your presence doesn't simply stir their heart, it stirs their destiny. To ignore you would mean to remain confined to cycles of limitation. To acknowledge you would mean to step into realms they've secretly yearned for but never accessed. That is why you have become unforgettable, and the haunting aspect is this. Once someone recognizes that you hold the keys, they cannot unlearn it. They can't revert to pretending you were ordinary or replaceable. Every time they experience that familiar stagnation, every time they encounter the same obstacle, your name resonates in their mind as the missing element. It is no longer about mere attraction. It is about necessity. You are the access point to doors they didn't even know they were waiting to open, and that is why you've become the constant thought in their day, the restless presence in their night. You've become the key they cannot afford to lose. Eighthly, the reading revealed that losing you would negatively impact their overall journey. The psychic revealed something that sent a chill through them, the truth that losing you would rewrite their positive path. Until that moment, they may have thought of you as important, meaningful, perhaps even unforgettable, but the reading made it clear. Your connection is not something they can mishandle without facing serious implications. You are intertwined with their journey in such a way that their actions with regard to you will greatly affect their overall well-being. The stakes are not just emotional, they are spiritual. This unsettled them deeply because it meant their actions toward you have significance far beyond hurt feelings or broken trust. The psychic laid it bare. If they dishonor this connection, they are not just wounding you. They are negatively affecting their entire course of life. That truth hit them hard because it reframed their choices. This isn't about whether they like you or not. It's about whether they choose fulfillment or suffering. They realize that mistreating you wouldn't just close the chapter, it would make a mark on them forever. The effects of their actions and choices would be very difficult to bear in the future. Therefore, they have to be very careful. They are not just dealing with an ordinary situation, they are choosing the path of destiny. The reading made them see that walking away from you or treating you carelessly isn't freedom. It's going to greatly affect their life later on, and that thought terrified them. Because once someone is made aware of the weight of a bond, the consequences of choices will be very dangerous. Now, you're not just in their mind because of desire. You're in their mind because of fear and awareness. They can't shake the thought of you because they know their treatment of you holds the power to bless or curse the very fabric of their future. Every action, every word, every decision connected to you suddenly feels heavier, more significant. The psychic handed them the truth that their destiny is tied to how they handle this connection, and now they can't unhear it. That's why you linger in their thoughts day and night. You've become more than a person. You've become a life-changing choice. Ninthly, they realized you already influenced their life without trying. They realized with a kind of unsettling clarity that you already influenced their life without even trying. This was not something they could brush off as coincidence anymore. The psychic made it undeniable. Even without constant interaction, even without your direct involvement, your presence has been reshaping the way they move through life. Their dreams, their moods, their sudden shifts in perspective. These are not random happenings. They are the ripple effects of the connection their soul has with yours. This truth hit them like a confession they didn't want to make out loud. They noticed how their decisions have started bending in your direction, how their emotions carry echoes of you, and how even in silence you are speaking into their life. That's what shook them. It means you don't need to chase, persuade, or demand anything. You exist, and that existence alone shifts their reality. The psychic showed them that influence doesn't always come with effort. Sometimes it comes with essence. Your energy is not passive. It's active, it's living, it's connected. They realize that when they dream of you, it's not just their subconscious at play, it's their spirit responding to your frequency. So to wrap it all up, what we've explored tonight is the profound, often unsettling, but ultimately beautiful reality of being deeply and undeniably connected to another soul. It's about understanding that sometimes when someone can't get you out of their head, it's not just a fleeting infatuation, but a sign of something far deeper. A missing piece, an unfinished lesson, a destined path illuminated by your very presence. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Have you ever experienced anything similar? Maybe you've been the one unable to stop thinking about someone, or perhaps you've felt that magnetic pull from another person. Share your stories, your questions, your insights in the comments below. Let's create a space for open and honest conversation. And if this resonated with you, if you found any glimmer of truth or understanding in what we discussed, be sure to subscribe. I'm planning on diving into more topics like this, exploring the hidden connections that shape our lives and the powerful forces that guide us. Don't miss out on the next exploration.